Let's see, we'll get started here. I just was doing an experiment. I hadn't been using the sticky pads much. Sticky pads. You can order all different kinds and sizes from Amazon. That big, 2-inch squares, whatever. The ones that come with the Healy are really small, and so I think it's difficult to get them to conduct. So there's another size you can order, bit tops. And anyway, I was just doing it for some knee pain and running the pain program for the joints, and it runs at 0.3 hertz the whole time. And so at first I wasn't getting the conductivity with the sticky pads on either side of my knee. And I put a little salt water on, which usually works for my wristbands, but that wasn't quite enough. And so I put a couple of actual just sprinkles of the salt in with the salt water. So, the salt was stronger, I guess. And then it conducted at 0.3, which is one of the smallest amounts of hertz you can be running. So at the smaller amounts of hertz, it's harder to conduct, but it shows you can get it to work. So, keep playing around with salt and water, et cetera. And of course, your hydration. Okay. So one of the things I wanted to talk about today was all the resources that we all have available to us to help us troubleshoot and get more full use out of the Healy. So one thing I wanted to bring your attention is the manuals. I'm going to just finish you get that little happy song which you can turn off in settings. You can turn sounds off and then it won't make the happy song at the end of the program. But anyway, there is a manual online on your app. I think it's under information. It's either in information or settings, I forget which, is the actual manual. So you can see it really well, and then you can print from there even. So if you didn't print out your manual in some other way, there's an opportunity to do that. And I know sometimes I was talking to someone about reading the manual before, and sometimes if you just sit down and you want to read it cover to cover, it doesn't work so well because it's not really till you get into using it that you have questions about specific things. So I would recommend, peruse it, give it an overall look through and delve into areas that intrigue you, and then keep it as a reference, like you would an encyclopedia or a dictionary or something. So when you have an issue or you're wanting to look a little deeper, okay, I think I've got that handled, and I also want to see this or that, you've got it right there and you can use it. And I think Marianne discovered that sometimes it prints light, but you can, instruct it, maybe even if you have to go to Kinko's or somewhere to do a printing, to print it at like 1100 DPI, stronger DPI, just because the print was done originally in a lighter color. So the manuals are there, and they're also in your back office, and there's a lot of data being loaded for us, information and tools in the back office now. And if you go into the back office, then you'll see under tools and then videos, there's some things there, as well as under Academy. And whenever it has EN, that means it's going to be in English. So if you look forward a lot in some of the videos, you'll see, oh, those are DEs, which means that's for Germany. So the ENs are always the English ones. So there's a tremendous amount of videos. So a lot of the problems that we end up having are because we haven't read the manuals or we haven't watched some of the training videos. So, spend a little time each week. I think that really when you're getting started with the Healy, it's a whole opening up a new chapter in your life about personal care and your own accountability and responsibility. So it's not just like you bought a product at the store, you come home and use it a little bit and you put it aside and this and that. No, it needs to be a part of your daily habits. You don't want it to become a coat rack like the treadmills that you got. You want to use it actively. So someone said to me today, oh, I haven't been using it because I got busy with work. Well, that's a perfect time to be using it is, start running some programs. It only takes a minute to set it up, run the programs, and it'll support you through your work. Maybe you want to run the mental programs to, or learning, I guess, actually, to focus on the brain stimulation. So, and as you start leafing through the different program descriptions, you get more and more familiar with them. And then one of the biggest resources you have is yourself. And keeping a log and noticing what you're intuitively drawn to and maybe what you're using because of a resonance scan, But then as you begin to log what you're doing and for how long and what you notice afterwards, you'll have a lot more clues. So I'll give you an example. I hadn't really made this connection consciously until the other day. I was thinking about whenever I feel like I need to go and pee, you know, that it's not just, oh, it's time to go. There's almost a feeling of like inflammation, like when you have a urinary tract infection, but I don't have an infection. And I realized, that's been going on for a really long time. So I was looking through the programs and reading up about, okay, let's see, kidney, bladder. I've been doing some things for that, but I wanted to see what else. And so I started reading under the deep cycles and reading about the kidney all female and kidney all male. And I went, I'm going to try that. And you know what? Since I ran that, I don't have that feeling anymore. So it addresses all the things that are related to kidneys and all the sexual organs for men and women. So anything to do, energetic problems with the bladder, urinary system, ovaries and vagina, menstruation with women, or prostate impotence with men. And also wanted to mention that sometimes, you might be in menopause and you'll pull up a program that says menstruation in it. And really it's drawing that attention to the pelvic area. So when we read these descriptions, we start realizing that some of these descriptions are kind of like the tip of the iceberg in guiding us in how to best use the programs. So but experiment and, keep good notes. And then the other thing I wanted to remind you of is we have a Telegram group for people that have their Healys or are going to be getting them shortly called Frequency Matters. So we have a Frequency Matters Facebook page, and that's really for people that we're wanting to introduce to the Healy so they can see people's results and they can see educational videos, and you could tag people and you invite your friends. So you have to friend someone in order to be able to invite them to the group because it's a private group. And then in Telegram, which is another app you can get, and not owned by Mark Zuckerberg. So with that, we can have a thread and we can keep resources. And actually you can, Telegram has this nice facility where you can click on the little icon for the group and it'll show you what files have been added and what media. And so in addition to seeing the thread of conversation or postings, you can highlight those things. So that's my one place right now. It's sort of the most efficient way to be able to load resources, and other people can load them too. So I really recommend you get on that Telegram app. If you need me or your sponsor, whatever, to invite you to that Telegram group, let us know. It's called Frequency Matters. It's got a Nautilus seashell as an icon for it. And there's also Team Healy USA, where there's weekly update calls posted and then recordings. And I usually post the recordings on our Telegram group too. So in case people don't want to go to two places. So the Team Healy US, or whatever the order is not a chat. It's really, or a thread really, as much as it is the key people that are running the US operations or on the mastermind group will post things. And then there's some other conversation threads that you can follow that have Healy or frequencies in them that you can look for, that you learn a lot of information. There's a lot of good resource material there. And there's many Facebook pages too. So again, if you need help with that, you can ask me or your sponsor or whoever for guidance in those. And then the other thing is I realized that not everyone is on Healy's email list, and I don't have the link handy, but just thinking, well, I'll put it again in the Telegram group. I think it's in there of how you get added to the email list. And some people have added themselves, but they're still not getting the email. So I'm sure that's going to all be sorted out, in the next little while. And just as we've seen a lot of improvements in the back office already with the, there's like, if you go to support and you want to file a support ticket, then they have categories to put them in. So it kind of helps us be direct about what we have an issue with, and also it helps them categorize and get back to us more quickly. So let's see. And the other thing I wanted to bring out is if you've introduced the Healy to someone and you've helped them make a purchase, it really is your job to make sure they have the resources necessary. And if you don't know how to do something, then, you know, continue to ask your sponsor or someone else on the team for help. Because we don't want to just get someone registered and then expect them to figure everything out, right? That's why I'm providing these kind of calls. Taz has done the same. Other people on our team will do the same. So we really want you to be fully supported and happy using your Healy. And I would love to hear people's positive results. So for all of you on the call today that have had your Healy, I'd love to hear at least one thing from you that you've noticed that's positive with using it. You know, how it's changing your life or someone else's life that you're in touch with. Okay. So are there any questions or comments about what I've mentioned so far? No questions or comments. Okay. How about somebody sharing one positive thing that they've experienced by using their Healy? Miriam, you're speaking, your microphone's off, and somehow I can't hear you. Yeah, can't hear you. Something is with your sound setup, I think. No, I can hear you, Marianne, but Marianne, I can't.
I have less pain.
You have less pain. Great. And what are you doing? What are you running?
I'm running primarily pain and fitness, and then the meridians, and I'm experimenting with some others.
Is that in the resonance that you're running those?
Yes.
Okay. About how many minutes are you running them?
I have been running them for a long time. I've been running them up to an hour.
Okay. And are you making any kind of connections? Because I think we're all experimenting with the amounts of time.
No, I haven't made any connections there.
Okay. So you're just sticking with around an hour?
Yeah.
Cool. Have you been running any of the databases like the Bach flower or any of those?
I've run the Bach flower and I've run the salts, and I don't know what the connections are. What I really feel the connections that I can specify and link are the pain and the fitness.
Great. Yeah, I've noticed whenever I'm running fitness on the resonance, I usually run it for about a half hour. I start exercising in the middle of it. You know, I start doing whatever with my stretchy bands, or, you know, doing squats or whatever. So I feel like the direct effect of wanting to exercise.
For me, I have been pretty much disabled physically, and I have a great deal of difficulty walking at this point, and have been walking with a cane for about a year. So I've lost a lot of muscle tone. I've lost a lot of stamina and flexibility. And so this is my objective for running the fitness is stamina and flexibility. I also have non-diabetic edema, and I think that the circulation aspect or something else is reducing the edema. It's still quite a problem, but it's not as much a problem as it had been.
Great, great. And how long have you had your Healy?
I guess I've started using it about 2 weeks ago.
Okay, great. So wonderful progress in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, are you doing a scan of all the programs to figure out which are the top 5 folders for you at that moment?
No, I haven't been doing that.
Okay. Well, I would.
In fact, I'm not sure how to do that.
Okay. Well, let's demo that first in a minute. We'll show you how to do that, and maybe how to do the other databases. And the other thing I wanted to mention is when we run the aura analysis, and you can run frequency on that. A lot of times, well, the way I think Taz and I got shown was you just run a minute of that. And what I've noticed, positive feedback from people when I run that for longer for them. So, you know, it's balancing all of the meridians or the energy centers inside of our body. So that can be really powerful to remember to use.
I'm
Okay.
looking forward, I'm in the middle of fires here. And so a
Mm.
lot of my attention is on dealing with smoke and even getting ready to do an evacuation.
Oh,
So my energy is not so much focused on this. It's really on survival.
yes, I understand. Well, we'll wish you the best and pray that everything is safe there. Where are you living?
I live in the Bay Area, so I have major fires to the north, the east, and the south of me, and then there's the ocean.
Mm. Where are you in the Bay Area? Where are you living? What city?
Richmond.
Richmond. Okay. Mm.
So I have 3,500 acres to the north and to the east, and then a bunch more to the south.
Wow. Yeah. I hope that
So
resolves.
it's devastating.
Yes, indeed. Okay. All right. Let's see.
Are you
Uh,
running the environmental programs, the protection programs for
Yes,
environment?
I forgot. That is the other one that I have been running a lot.
Uh-huh,
Good.
yeah.
That's excellent. Good idea. Okay. All right. So maybe now is a good time to just share the screen and go in and point out a couple of things and make sure we know how to do those scans for everybody. So let me share my screen. And then let me know if I change anything where the screen stops broadcasting. Turn my Healy on. And I'll click on the blue dot. Can you see my screen, everybody?
Yes.
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. So when you start out, you're really at the house button or the home button where you're seeing the clients and the lists. And that's really the reason you press the home button. So let's say I want to look at, just see if this works. Yes, actions, no, okay. One of the things I wanted to point out is either when you first run a scan and you have the analysis on the aura, the chakras, or if I just bring it up from a list like you just saw, you'll see there's a little tiny pencil at the bottom of each section. Can you see that, a little kind of slanted line?
Yes.
Okay, so if I click on that pencil, I can actually add something in. So I could put my own affirmation here.
You mean before you run the program?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
So I can do that, and then you'll see it's added to it. I am filled with gratitude. So now when I run that, if I vibrate that, you'll see it'll float through. I'm filled with gratitude. You see that?
Yeah.
So that's one of the things you can do there. So I wanted to point that out. And then let me just, with the aura analysis, I wanted to show you something else. I'm looking through my contacts. There I am. And I can click on history. And now what I can do is I can look at all the different aura analyses. I can click on one, and then for the second box, I can bring up maybe something that I ran today. Okay. And then I can click on these three little lines at the top in the blue area, and I get a comparison of what the bars look like. So that might provide me some interesting information. So then if I click on the little eye above the bars, then I can see the information that shows up when you first do that. And if I click on more about solar plexus, I can read a lot. This isn't available for printing for some reason. you could do a screenshot, I guess. But look, here's all the affirmations. So again, I could write down some of these affirmations that I like or adapt them, and then add that in as information when I'm running the aura vibrations. Okay, so that's pretty cool. And let's see. Yeah, well, you all know, so you click on record aura, and then it's going to do another analysis. And then if I click on the three funny lines at the top in the blue area, again, it's going to show which are the three lowest, and I could highlight any of them if I want to report on all of those, or I could just do, one of them. Let's say I wanted the solar plexus. And then I can start an analysis just on that if I wanted to. And I can click on negative relevancies. And again, negative relevancies, if you were on one of my webinars before, has to do with the things that are more in our subconscious or kind of out of reach from the present moment. Start the analysis. Okay, so again here I could add in something that was my own description if I wanted to. And then when I click on actions, this is where I can send a report by clicking on show PDF. And then I click on the three little knobby things in the blue bar, and I choose how I'm going to send it to somebody. And sometimes it won't pick up the PDF, especially when you've just run something and I'm not sure why. But so a lot of times I'll click on copy first, which I just did to hit copy, and then I hit the three bars again, and now I see if I can message it to myself. So you see it did not pick up the PDF, so I have to come back later and do it. And the way I can do that is I go into lists and I click on all the ones that, maybe I make a note in my log. Let's say if I was running several things for people, I make a note on which ones I sent them the report on and which ones I haven't. All right, so when I click on their actions, now if I want to add something manually, again, if I have an essential oil, I have a special crystal, I have a special number that I printed out on paper, or a collection of crystals that I've taken a picture of, I can write my own desired state description, the current state, and I can set, well, how relevant do I feel like that is for me? How high of an intensity do I want to set it at? And I can select a potency. The D's are more physical, the C's are emotional, mental, and the LMs are more of the spiritual or etheric. And then I can click on add symbol, and there I'm invited to add an image. So I could already have an image in my photo gallery of the picture, and then it'll ask, I can record a vibration. So you place the Healy where you want to record the vibration. It might be next to the tree because you're wanting the energy of the tree. Or you place the essential oil right on the Healy and then you record it, okay? So that's a pretty cool thing. And I've posted in Telegram a woman walking through that whole process. All right, so does anyone have any questions on that, on the aura analysis, et cetera? Nope, okay.
I have
Go ahead.
I noticed that this is being recorded. There's a lot of information flying by, and is the recording going to be available in case I want to go back and review some of this?
Probably so. I'm going to ask Taz if she'll help me put it in YouTube, because she has a nice way of doing it so that it's readily accessible.
Okay, thank you.
So I just want to point out again, the percentages, the higher percentages and the positive are the ones that resonate most for what you need right now. The 8 next to that is the intensity, and the LMCC in this case is the homeopathic strength. So again, that's more in the spiritual arena. And then the stronger, I believe it would go in the direction of the strongest one, minuses would be the ones you most need, but I'm not positive how the negatives work, but it doesn't really matter anyway. It's picked out ones that feel appropriate to you that you can use. Okay. Now let's go over If I click on the little zigzag sign or the heartbeat sign at the bottom of the page, really there's only 3 places to go within the Blue Dot app. Your home for lists and adding clients, and the zigzag line or the heart frequency, whatever you want to call that, for doing a scan and analysis and emitting the frequencies, and then their gear sign. And there you see that the manual's right there, right? So you can bring up the manual, and there you have it. So you see it's really, sometimes it's really nice to be able to look up things like that right while you're using it. Oops, okay. So it reconnects to the Healy. Now, at any time when it doesn't quickly reconnect to the Healy, you can close out of the app. And if you need to turn your Healy back on because it shut off, do that and then go back and open the app. You always want to have the Healy on before you go into the app. Sometimes you'll run into problems if you don't do that. Okay, and so I go now back to the heartbeat, and I'm going to go to the resonance analysis. So we'll just do it on me. And then it's, what do I have the greatest resonance for now? So I can be really getting into the place of, I really want more peace in my life right now, or whatever it is that I'm looking for, and being clear about the emotion that I want to have with that. And then you, if you're a practitioner or a person, you know, providing the scans for somebody else, you want to get into that same place for that person. You want to have a positive intention because you're the provider and Healy is your tool, and you work together in combination. So if I click on continue with database selection, so this is what I was talking about, Miriam. You have all of the list of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different databases, starting with Bach flower and ending with I Ching, that you can do a scan and provide frequencies on. And then you've got all the program folders. And again, like the gold cycle programs, there's 7 programs you see in the parentheses. That's how many programs are in that folder. And then we can also click on all Healy programs. So this, I know the bush flowers, people like those a lot. So let's just click on that to give you an example. And a reminder that when you're pressing on the fingerprint, it's really just a place to focus for that positive intention. It has nothing to do with the fingerprint. It just helps us focus. And you'll notice that the first time you do an analysis on a database, it'll take much longer than other times. It's like it's already recorded the information about you. So we get white potato bush, some really interesting things from Australia, autumn leaves, flannel flower, pawpaw. Let's just see, I'm just gonna run this for a minute just to see if people notice anything from running this for a short time online. One of the things you can do is if you're doing something remotely with someone, you know, Taz thought of this, if you've got a second device, you can take a picture of what's going on like this, like a, you know, a 10-second video, really, not just a picture, that can show the person how this is operating. If you're not online with them, you're not with them. And it makes them feel more part of the process.
So when this is complete and you want to run the next step, you have to go back to the house and then reselect the client, or is there a way to just go back to the client without backing the whole way out?
No, if I click on the little heartbeat thing again, and then I click on which kind of evaluation I want to do, or you know, or the other, the resonance, it'll still send me back to pick up the client. That's just the way it works. Yeah.
Is there a way, if I'm going to type in an extra affirmation, is there a way to save that so I don't have to type it out every single time?
Yes. Let's just see 1 second. Did anybody notice anything interesting?
Sorry, I was busy talking.
No, that's okay. Anybody notice anything? I can always feel like it's on. Yes, when you're going back into lists, let's just Let me look for my list. So I go in and pull up all my lists. See, there's one that I really liked, these gem elixirs, these in particular ones. And this isn't exactly answering your question, but I'll get to it. So I can rename my list. I can go into any file, you know, I'm touching the screen in the middle section of this, and I drag it over to the left, and then I can click rename, and then I can type anything I want, and then it saves it. So that's one way to find things that you like and to, you know, rename them. All right, then what I'm wondering is, let's see. I'm just thinking about your question because like I put in that one affirmation. Okay. I think what would happen, Marianne, is if you go in and type that affirmation and then you go and rename that list, whatever that list was. Let's see, that would have been a pink one. I'm thinking it through whether it was at 422. So it has that in there. So let's just see if I can rename that, which I can. So I can rename it and I can back up into it and I can leave the date and then I could say with affirmation. And then I can click on the smiley sign and put in, you know, something that helps me see it better. And then I click on save and there it is. Okay. So that might be that I also added an essential oil in there too. So I could mark that, you know, it's with Palo Santo or whatever it is, or homeopathic remedy. Does that make sense? Oh, and the other thing I wanted to point out is when I go to the house, if I'm going to be adding a new client, click on individual or organization or plant or vehicle or group or whatever. It's like, say I click on that. When I've added everything in, I want to be sure, well, it's not going to let me click on it. It's got the check mark grayed out because I don't have any information in here, but that is your save button. So if you record the vibration for the person by holding the Healy in your right hand, based on their photograph and their first name, last name, birth date, birthplace, and sex, and then you record the vibration by holding Healy in your right hand for them, then you want to be able to, you want to click that check mark. It will turn white at the top of the right page in the blue area, and that saves it to the cloud, to the database. Otherwise, you don't have it. Okay? So let's go back into the resonance analysis, and let's say I'm going to figure out which of these I want to use. So Miriam, you could pick from any of these, and I like to do this because I think it balances things from the more esoteric point of view. And you've got the Bach flower and the Australian bush flowers and the gem elixirs, where I think tend to focus more on the emotional things. And then you've got Materia Medica and the Schussler salts and the amino acids that also bring up other things besides amino acids. That's going to be a lot of the physical, like the Schussler salts helps with a lot of mineral balance. So, you know, depending on who you're working on, it might determine which ones of these you want to use at any point in time. And then if we wanted to click on all programs, this is what you said you hadn't done, Miriam. So I can click on all Healy programs. I touch that. And then I want to start the analysis, put my thumb there, my finger there. And it's going to bring up the top 5 folders that most resonate with me. The highest percentage means the highest resonance for me right now. And then I can run some frequency on that and run. So really what I'm running is vibrations from all of the folders for jobs, all of the folders for, all of the files for bioenergetic balance 1, all of the files for beauty programs. So it's probably going to be 30 to 40 programs, and it somehow is cycling through those vibrations or lists. So you can do that. And then you can make a note. This will be as a list in your, when you go to the house button, you'll see that list, the all Healy programs, and it'll show you this. But you can also, if you're, keeping a log on working on yourself or working on someone else, then I'll write down which ones are the top 5. And then I will go from there and I'll run on bioenergetic balance programs 1, because that's the highest. And so I'll bring myself up again, go right to bioenergetic balance. And now I'm kind of drilling down into that. And now I'll pick out the 5 top programs within that folder. So immune system, menopause, flexibility, cold, which I think has to do with the mucous membranes, and nerves. Okay. So that then also can give me the hint of what do I want to use on the Pink Dot app today with electrodes. So since this was the top file in the top folder for me, I might want to use the immune system program that day and run that, it lasts maybe 50 to 60 minutes with electrodes. And then another reminder is you can run with electrodes or without the electrodes. A lot of times with animals, you'll be running them without. But if you can, work it out with the animal to use the electrodes, you
I
can.
don't think so.
And otherwise, you can just have them nearby and have the Healy and your device close to each other within a foot, and then it makes a nice connective circuit. So sometimes you can get so excited and have such great results using the resonance on the Blue Dot that we forget to use the Healy app itself with electrodes. And so I'm going to remind you that some of the benefits are with that microcurrent going into the body, that's going to really help the voltage in your cells. It's going to help then with your amino acids and your protein and just your overall health and vitality. It's really an anti-aging thing to do for yourself. So that's good. But let's say you might be going to sleep at night and want to run one of the sleep programs and you don't want electrodes attached to you. You could go ahead and run, bed rest and without the electrodes and have it nearby if you wanted to do that. Okay. So any questions about what we've done here on the Blue Dot side? The resonance. Any comments?
I'm running the all programs and the aura on my photinias. I have these photinia bushes that outside that have a fungus, and for photinias that's really bad news. And so I started doing that, which is kind of fun because I put the Healy on one of the branches, and then I just kind of do the analysis, and it seems like it's coming up almost the same every day. So that's kind of cool.
Huh.
And I'm also seeing that it's similar for the cats. Maybe there's one thing that changes for each of the cats, but there's a lot of the same stuff that shows up. So I'm kind of really jazzed about this technology. It doesn't seem like hit or miss to me, and not that I thought it was, but it's really, I'm seeing the pattern, and it's really cool.
Oh, that's great. And then are you using the resonance on your plants?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And about how long are you running it?
12 minutes.
Uh-huh. Okay. Have you seen any change in the plant health yet?
Well, it's only been a couple of days. I mean, I can imagine that I see new leaves and they look healthy, but I don't know.
Well, you've got a good intention, so that's good.
That's right. That's right.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to go into the Pink Dot app. Turn on my Healy on. Am I still screen sharing?
No.
Nope.
Well, I mean, we see all your apps. Is that your screen?
Oh, yeah, that's it. That's it.
Okay, yeah, that's it. So have you done the Healy Advisor yet? Are we going to talk about that or?
Yeah, we can talk about that a little bit. Let's just do this part first.
Okay.
So it brings me back into the last place I ran something, okay? And also, I want to point out here, some people think that if you've started a program on the Pink Dot app You got your electrodes on and everything. And then you go for a walk or you go into a far room of the house and you come back and you see this. You think, oh, it stopped. But the Healy program did not stop, because once it loads the program, it's running off of the Healy. Your app at this point is just a log of where you are in the process and giving you some feedback about what hertz is being run and if you're conducting, if you have enough hydration with the wristbands. So I can click on cancel here and then go back to the 3 lines at the top and pick a program. I want to point out, I'm saying again, just because I've said it before, but doesn't mean you've heard it before, because you might not have been on another call. But just to mention, the bioenergetic support here under Deep Cycle is the program. If I touch that bioenergetic boost was a program that Healy made available to all people once the virus was out. This was something to support us that we could use every day if we wanted. Also point out where I see that 38%, that's how much battery life is on my Healy device. So I know when I get into the 30s or the high 20s, it's gonna run out. And you want to let it run out the first few times that you use your Healy, because that'll help calibrate it. And then after that, if you want to charge it, because you don't want to run out in the middle of a program, that's okay too. And if your little charger cord that you've got doesn't seem to fit that well, it's a standard micro to USB cord that you can buy just on Amazon or anywhere online, and then you can buy it whatever length you want, whereas the one from Healy is very short. And also you can, even though it's very short, you can just let it hang from the charger. I don't tend to charge it on my computer. I want to use a full force charger. Somebody could use if somebody's talking in the background, if you could mute yourself.
It's another form of
Somebody needs to mute themselves, please.
They see
We can
you now.
hear you.
No.
Okay, so what else to point out here? Let's see.
No, because it's closed.
Protection programs. Oh yeah, so if you subscribe to the digital nutrition, which is about $90 a month, it's going to be grayed out on this because I have it associated with my other Healy on another device, but you can still read it. So there's mixtures to support the brain, hair, skin, etc. You've got a lot of mixtures. And then the mixtures too: age, amino acids, alkaline powder, connective tissue, blood, liver, minerals. There's a lot of things. And then there's 4 of those pages. And then you have individual substances like vitamin D, vitamin K, carnitine, coenzyme Q10. And I think you have 5, 6, there's a lot of those, okay? And so what I don't know yet, whoever asked that question, I think Marianne, is it says you can run them up to like an hour. So I don't know if that really counts as a program. I'm imagining it doesn't, even though you're using electrodes. I don't, and they say use maybe only 3 programs a day. Maybe you can push it a little bit more or a little bit less. If you're on the weak side, you want to start very carefully with the electrodes, and ideally to, again, be super hydrated. And if you can ground afterwards, get on the earth with your feet on the earth, or buy a grounding pad, an earthy pad to sleep on. That would really be helpful for offsetting all those electrons that have been moving through your body, and you'll have less likelihood of having a detox reaction.
So when you say 3 programs a day, is that 3-hour-long programs?
The way I've always heard it spoken is just 3 programs on the pink dot side. I'll run sometimes 4, sometimes 5. I try to spread them out a little bit, and I'm keeping a track of myself. If I feel like I've done too much, I feel really tired, or I start not feeling well, then I know I've overdone it, or maybe I overdid it the day before. So you want to be very careful. And some people who are really sensitive will, 1 a day is plenty, or 1 every other day is plenty. So it'll really depend. The advisor, let's see, that is its own program. And again, I don't have it on this device. And that's where you can have a search function. That's like 33 a month or 35 a month, I want to say. And with that, you can look up a keyword like Lyme or immune system, and then see what programs it suggests. So in addition to doing your scans, your intuition, your reading of the program list, then that's one thing you can do as well. So that can give you some really great ideas for what to work with. Okay, and then the therapist programs are, if you want to have a consult with somebody who's a time waiver practitioner, they can download programs for you, and then you have those that you can use. So I have 4 of them from someone that I'm working with in England. Okay, let's see. I think anything else I should be showing that anyone can think of? We're talking about with the pink dot. Oh, I know. Again, if you walk out of the room, if I start to run something, as soon as this white bar crosses the screen, everything is on my Healy. So then this is only a log of what's going on.
So if it's on your Healy, it's on this little square here.
Yes,
And you
yes.
can walk around away from your phone or whatever
Yes.
other device has the programs, and it
That's
still
right.
continues to run even if the phone shuts off.
That's right.
Even if it's, well, it has to be, the pink you have to be attached, but for the blue dot, you can just kind of take off and do whatever.
Well, let's stay on the pink dot right now so we don't confuse things. So if I'm running a pink dot program, I can walk away. This is only a log of what's happening. It's making it visible what's going on the Healy, but it's all happening on the Healy.
Okay,
So
so you have
if you
your
have a
electric.
Bluetooth connection, if you have a Bluetooth connection, then the Healy can tell this app through the cloud what's going on, right? And I can adjust the percentage. And so what I advise here is, in terms of setting the percentage intensity, is if I have the wristbands on or the sticky pads, I can adjust it, I would say somewhere between 15 and 30%. Some people go a little bit higher. You really shouldn't be running it any higher than that. It's not really good for you. So you want to run it, the way to test it out was when it's in the hundreds, like right now, 469.9 hertz it's running. That's a good way, that's a good place in the hundreds, 100 to 900, to test out the sensitivity. And you could bump it all the way up, let's say, to 60 until you definitely feel like, oh my gosh, I'm getting weird things shooting through my fingers. That doesn't feel very good. And you start going down, and you want to go down to where you just feel it, or 1 notch below where you just feel it. And that's a safe place to be. So now, and of course you see that it's black behind the little red dot, and that's because I don't have the electrodes connected right now. Yes, I have them connected for the other device. Anyway, I'm making sure which is which. So if you're going between black and white, then your connectivity isn't good, and you want to either use, maybe some salt water, dampen your wristbands with some salt water before you start. Keep a little squirt bottle of that you can squirt under the wristband, and then you should be pretty good. And then make sure you've drank a lot of water. Not sure what the correct past tense is. Okay, and then, so now if I walk away, all right, and it's gonna, let's see.
Tony, I have a question.
Yeah.
Yes, this is Savita. It might be kind of a stupid question. Maybe everyone already knows this, but I don't. I still want to get clarification on the hertz and
Yes.
the percentage, because I mean, I've seen the hertz go up to like way in the thousands, like
Yes.
10,000s, and the percentage is low, but the hertz are really high, and I'm like, okay, what does that mean? I need this really bad, or
okay.
dose, or what? Can you explain that to me?
The hertz is based on the quantum sensor and what it's sensing that you need right now. So every 10 seconds, the quantum sensor is doing a check into your system to see which of all the frequencies possible for this program does this person need at this moment. And they can be very low, like 0.2, up to in the hundreds of thousands.
I've had both ends, okay?
Yeah, absolutely, you will. And that's the whole range of it. That's the beauty of it. So it's reading what your body needs at that moment. You'll also see sometimes it says there's 45 minutes left and it might end the program in 20 minutes. So again, because the quantum sensor is attuning for you, it may say, ah, that's all this person needs right now.
Well, that's never happened when it's been really low, like it's been at 0.5. I don't even remember what program it was. And it was just like it never, like, does that mean maybe I don't even need that program?
No, no, no. You're confusing something. So again, the hertz is just a range of different kinds of frequencies that they found,
Right.
you know, through lots of testing work well for certain things, certain combinations. So at high or low doesn't mean anything to us to interpret it. We don't really know what that frequency stands for.
Okay.
Okay. So you just don't concern yourself about it. I'm just saying use it as a benchmark for gauging what intensity, you know, when you're in the hundreds, that's a good place to test the intensity to see. But you'll find that pretty soon, once you've used it a while and paid attention to that, that your comfort area is 20%. That's what usually mine is, 20%, 25% maybe. And that's where I feel good. And then I don't know, in this particular program, it's not showing, there's like a percentage complete or a minus percentage or a plus percentage below the circle that shows up. And that is, it's really not so useful for us to know what that is all about, but basically it's seeing how long you need that hertz running. It's kind of a reporting out of that. So, you know, you can just disregard it. And then now if I click on anywhere on the screen, it's going to make an X. So that is, and then if I click on the screen again, oops, it'll start. Usually then, if I click on the X, it says, do you really want to close the program? So you can say okay or no.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks.
Does that help you clarify the things you were looking for?
Yeah, a bit. Thanks.
Okay, good.
Noni, this
Yes.
is Gold here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I have a question about the one application, the pain/local stimulation.
Yes.
And
Oops, where'd it go?
and when I when I press on that, like most of the other programs, it used to say downloading the program, but now it just totally bypasses the downloading program and it skips right to the little circle in the picture.
Exactly. Yeah, and I thought there was something wrong. It turns out that the pain ones just run a little differently than the rest of the folders.
Oh, okay, so that's normal.
It is normal. And like I said, I was running this one before and it runs, the whole thing is 0.3 hertz.
Right, yeah.
So yeah, it's a little confusing. It's like, why is it doing that? Is it broken? No, it's not broken. Okay.
And also I've noticed on some of the descriptions when it talks, when you go to all Healy programs or something, it won't say pain/local stimulation like it does on our screen. It'll say pain/psyche. I don't know if you've noticed that on yours.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the difference is like, even if you print out these, you just get these numbers, right? And I think I've published, and you can get it from Mari if you need it, the translation. I mean, it's pretty logical from usually the little chart that we get with the numbers on it. It kind of hints at what it is. But there is one that shows us in better explanation what pain it's for. And all of those differences are because we're in the US and the original programs and the materials were created in Europe. And so with the FDA clearance here, they could not use the pain except for, you know, in a very specific instance. So that's why it says local stimulation instead of psyche. Because there are a couple here that are for depression and anxiety. Or one of them is, let's see, 7 is bioenergetic support for mental balance, and 8 is bioenergetic support to relieve mental stress.
Right.
And 6 is bioenergetic balancing of sleep issues. So those are some really interesting ones to, you know, consider using. So so that helps explain that, I think. Yes.
And I think 5 was for migraines. Is that correct?
And they can't use the word migraines in the US. Yeah.
In the manual, it does go and it does specify, but I think that's what
That's
the
right. That's
5
right. Yeah, bioenergetics support in case of unpleasant sensations in the head area. So unpleasant sensations is the US have to phrase for pain.
Okay. And
Yeah.
and since we don't have the little ear lobe things, we
Uh-huh.
just use the patches on our behind our ear.
Exactly. Yeah. Yep,
Okay.
yep.
Great. Thank you so much.
You're
Thank you
welcome.
again.
And let me see. What other questions can we answer about running this?
I have a question, another question. This is Savita. It's kind of silly question again, but I'm going to ask. With the pain and local stimulation programs, I noticed a lot of them have very specific points to put the electrodes on. And since I've gotten my wristbands, I've gotten a little lazy. And I'm wondering if I could just keep, like if it says to put it on your back, can I just run it on my wrists?
You can. And when you're doing it on your wrist, it goes throughout the whole body. And I think actually wherever you put it, it's going throughout the whole body. But if you want to focus on your knee, then put it around your knee. You might do a comparison sometime and see if you notice a big difference.
Well, I did notice when I did run a program and it said to put it on my back and I didn't have the other pads, the wrists were really strong. Like it was really strong. So I just lowered the
percentage, intensity.
But it was still pretty strong. I was surprised.
Even at like 15?
Yeah, it was really strong around my wrists. I can't remember which pain it was. It was a pain program. I don't know which one. I think I don't remember which one. But anyway, it's kind of interesting.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. I haven't found it too strong ever, you know, at 15%. But everybody's different, right?
Yeah.
So one of the things I want to make sure everyone's done, let me, I think I can stop sharing the screen. Okay. Is when you get your Healy,
I have another silly question.
yeah.
Can I ask it?
Sure.
So the question, this is, you know, because I'm so new, is the pink and the blue just different levels of device? Like I have the holistic health one.
Yes.
That pink, and then the holistic health plus is a blue or something like that?
No, the resonance is the blue. Everything that you can get up to the resonance is run on the pink. So it's running microcurrent.
Okay.
And when you get the resonance, it's all the things that we were showing you that you can scan and emit based on, right?
Okay.
So that's what you get with the resonance. So I just want to make sure for everyone that is new, if your Healy device has blue on the front or white on the front.
Oh, mine's white.
Does that mean, did you take off the blue film that comes on it?
I don't know, maybe.
You probably would know if you took it away because it's kind of tricky to peel off, but it's not meant to keep this. So it's like when you buy a TV or a refrigerator and there's a part that has plastic on it just to protect it in shipping.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to be sure and peel it away so that your Healy ends up looking like this. Otherwise, you'll have problems. This will start bubbling because it's not meant to be there, the blue, and you'll have trouble with the on-off switch being very, you know, palpable. So you want to be sure and remove that if you have and you sell one to somebody, you know, that they know to do that, because it's not necessarily obvious. So I wanted to make sure you knew that. Okay. Now, speaking of the resonance, there was an email that went out yesterday and the day before to many people on the email list, but sometimes everyone's not on the email list. And again, I posted it in Telegram. The company just announced a major promotion that's going on that just started, and it's from now today until midnight on September 6th, midnight German time on September 6th. And so it's like they had before through July 5th, I believe it was, where if you order one device, you get the next device up. So you get upgraded, which means that right now, you know, if someone buys a resonance, instead of paying $2,500, they're going to spend $1,500. And of probably the sweetest thing that happened for those people that happen to do this is if you bought a gold during the initial promotion, you got a holistic health. So you got the $1,000 machine for only spending $500. Right now, you can upgrade to a residence from the holistic health for only another $500, which means your residence only cost you a total of $1,000. So anyway, if you didn't get in on one of those specials, you know, it's a great time to share this with other people, and then you'll earn some money back if you do. And that might make you feel better for not having been a part of the promotions. So when you sell a residence during the special, it's like you'd earn $300. When you sell one during the regular pricing, you'd earn $500. So that's just a, you know, kind of a brief view of that. And what I'd like to do to support people sharing this with other people during this promo period is to do some more webinars where we're going through a little of the science in the background and then doing a little bit of a demo. I'm going to probably make it shorter than some of the ones I've done in the past because I've done a pretty long demo. So I'm going to shorten up the presentation part as well as the demo. So keep it under an hour. But that's a great way if you've got several people you'd like to invite, you know, let me know. We'll schedule it around your schedule, and then I can put it out to other people and we'll get other people to join in. So it's a great way to get a lot of questions answered and, you know, put this technology in front of people and show them how they can take more responsibility for their health in some very dramatic new potential ways to support themselves.
And Noni, will you record these so that, because I'm in Hawaii and sometimes the timing, it can be really early or, you know,
Yes.
for me. So do you record these webinars so that I can go back in and look at them or?
Yeah, I haven't been recording the ones in the past that were more of a promotional piece because I was doing a demo on somebody, so their personal information is there. I may, you know, change that up where I'm working on an animal or something like that so that it wouldn't be a bad idea then to share it. The one thing I want to avoid, and I understand your issue with the time zone, is a lot of times when people see, oh, it's recorded, oh, I'll watch it later, and then you never get around to watching it. So,
well, Noni, the other thing, the way that you've been structuring your webinars is if you recorded just the beginning part of it, as far as you could at least have that as like a baseline for people, and then you
that's a good idea.
Take the person out of it.
Yeah, I could do that. Or we could just, you know, record that part as a play alone piece that people could use as a presentation.
Right.
Or ask the person who you're doing the demo on to do it with the understanding that this may be viewed by other people so that the confidentiality is waived.
Yes, yeah, that's a good idea. And there's not a lot of, you know, confidential information really because it's their name and, you know, date of birth. It's nothing, like it's not their phone number, you know, or the email. I mean, I guess I do bring it up. Well, I don't actually have to do that. Where I'm going to demonstrate how you'd send someone the report. I don't actually have to send it or anything like that. So, yeah, that could work out. It's a good idea. So anyone else, I'd love to hear some of your results in sharing this with yourself and, you know, what you're using on yourself and what you're seeing some interesting effects. Sometimes we're going to go through detoxification, either physical or emotional things will come up. You might find yourself crying a lot one day as, you know, emotions have come out from using some of these programs. It's really designed to help support emotional balance. So a lot of things will come out. If you're working with someone that's been in a recent trauma or someone that's on medications for mental issues, you want to be very careful to make sure they've got backup support through their medical practitioners or whatever their resources are, and maybe to run things at a, you know, smaller frequency time. So I would be really interested in hearing some of your successes, some of the things that you're noticing.
Tony, this is Mark. Yeah. Hey, listen, I just wanted to kind of share with people.
Speak up a little bit, Mari, because your voice is faint.
I just wanted to share with those online here that if you're giving frequencies, you're sending frequencies out to other people, which I have been doing a lot of, that you are also getting those frequencies. And I've noticed on a number of occasions that I would wake up in the morning very nauseous, like dry heaves, and then it would be gone, and fatigue. So keep that in mind when you're doing 5 and 6 and 8 people a day, like I have. Just be aware, okay?
Noni, I
Yes.
wanted to share a couple of the things that have happened with my mom and my son. I shared with you yesterday, but I thought other people might like to hear. I have a 16-year-old son, and he went to work the other night, and when he left, he kept saying, "Mom, I'm so exhausted. Oh, I really don't want to go. I'm so tired." And so halfway through his shift, I sent him some programs for exhaustion and such like that, and it came up as a scan for him. And when he got home, I asked him what his experience was at his work, and he goes, "Yeah, about halfway through, I started feeling a lot better, and I got more focused, and my energy was better, less stressed." And then he goes, "Even the whole restaurant quieted down." And I says, "Oh, well, I sent you some vibrations around 7:30." And he's like, "That's when it happened." And so the rest of the night went very well for him.
Take out the
Yeah.
bird and put something
And
else
then
in.
my, yeah, and then my mom is in Florida, and I did a remote session with her, and
Get a pencil.
she was having an interview with a home care company, and she's been pretty
Okay.
irritated with
E-dot.
itching and
Somebody
rash.
needs, excuse me, Teresa, somebody needs to mute themselves.
It looks like it's somebody named Jan.
I've got some echo in the background because I was watching a webinar.
Yeah, Jan, if you could
Well,
just
if you
mute
could just
yourself.
mute yourself for the time being.
I'm gonna stop this. Okay, so it's E.Gorder.
Well, here, let me see if I can.
Can you hear?
At Yahoo. Okay. Okay.
Okay, I muted her.
Okay. So anyways, she's been itching a lot, and she's always doing this during the day. And during the whole time that the lady was there, she goes, "I didn't itch at all." And I had been sending her frequencies for the skin, pain and psyche, and I think the bioenergetics during that period of time. And so she was really surprised that she had gotten through the whole thing with this lady and didn't itch or scratch her skin once. So it was really, I mean, they're little things, but, and, you know, they made a big impression on both of them. Because they were like, "Really? That you sent them then?" I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Oh, wow." So it just really, yeah.
Was that with the residents?
Yep, there were remote sessions with the residents. One was here in town, and one was in here, Austin to Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so the residence, Savita, really gives you that ability to work so much more flexibly with yourself, have access to all these databases, and be able to work remotely with people and have an effect on people. So it's a huge step up in functionality of what you can do. Yeah. And also because with other programs, you're needing to run them usually for an hour at a time. And with this, you can just, you know, if you have just 3 minutes, you can run something for 3 minutes.
And then when you upgrade like that, I don't do anything but just pay more money, and then they upgrade my machine or something. So
yes, you would get it would be in your software updates. You know, there's a place to check for software updates. I think it's information or settings. And periodically you should check there anyway. And then it will show up there. Yeah.
When I do that, Noni, should I do it through you, or should I just do it through the website? Or I mean, I'm leaning toward it. I just don't know if I'm going to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll help you with it if nobody's around to help you.
Okay.
It's more direct. Yeah, I'll absolutely help you with it so that we can get you doing it. You know, there's some people that the back office can be a little confusing, and you're going to be putting your serial number in and a coupon code and such. So there's some people that for the initial sale, they give someone their link. But I just find the user interface for some of the things that you're going to leave out, because we're in the US, we don't do things, you know, the same as in other countries. It's easier to me that if you actually go and enter the person's information for the sale, and that way, you know, things are done right. And you could have them watch or share your screen or something like that if you want to do that, or walk them through it, or have them watch
Oh,
you
no,
do it.
I could create a video to show how to, so that, you know, in the future, everybody could just watch the video and do it themselves too.
Yeah, actually, I posted in Telegram. Mike Curley just did one about signing someone up and ordering. That's really good. So again, plug for joining the Telegram group. If you don't know how to do it, you know, contact me. Just get the app from the App Store. Just Telegram. It's a little blue circle with, like, it looks like a white paper airplane, I would say, pointing up to the right. Okay. Anybody else want to share any results or what they're noticing? Miss Cook, how are you? You're on mute, though.
I'm unmuted now. I'm good. You know, the thing I've noticed, I think I told you this, is I was doing the sleep program and I actually found that I was sleeping less. So I wasn't sure I liked that, so I stopped it.
And it can change over time. Were you running an individual sleep program, or were you running the resident sleep programs?
Resonance.
Residents, uh-huh.
Yeah, so
How
I
long
don't
were you
know.
running it for? Oh, 2 hours or?
Oh, no.
No?
Just for a few minutes. Just for a few minutes.
Huh. You know, you'd have to do it probably a couple times to find out if that's what it was or something else.
Yeah, maybe so. Because there were other
You know, we can
programs.
make a correlation that's spurious because we decided it was in our mind, but we don't know until we test it out a little bit.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
What, are you noticing anything else?
you know, Kira and her friend Phil, who I think was on this call, they both said, I've been running the skin program a lot because I've had issues with my skin. And they both said, oh, well, your skin looks like it's glowing. I don't see it, but if the other people do, great, you know?
Yeah.
So that's a nice thing.
Uh-huh.
And I'm going to use Teresa's anti-itch program. My husband's got some rashes on his wrist because he's reacting to a leather band on a watch.
Oh.
Yeah, and apparently whatever they treat the leather with, he's reacting to.
Is there a good, I wonder if there's a good skin program for that. I always look around and see what else besides the obvious, you know, might be good, right? Because a lot of times it's a meridian flow, which is like a great acupuncture treatment, or the bioenergetic balance 1 and 2, because it's dealing with a lot of the organ function. You know, it could be liver, it could be toxins, right? So,
Oh, no need.
and so maybe doing a scan for him, you might turn up some interesting things too. What were you gonna say, Mari?
No, do the allergies also.
Yeah, allergies.
Does anyone have any programs or ideas for a fungus that could be topical, skin topical funguses?
Well, I would think anything with the immune system support would be good.
Let me see. I'm going to look up. I'm going to use the Heal Advisor on my other device.
Cool.
I actually did see a fungus program in here somewhere, but I have a feeling it's might be in the digital.
So if I look under fungus, for instance, oh wait, I don't think my device is turned. Where's the right device? Oh, it's right here. Oh, it's going to make me log in and everything. I don't want to do that right now. Break up the flow too much. Anyway, that's a good example of using the Heal Advisor. But you'll you know, as you begin to note things in your log and notice things, and you get more familiar with the programs, you'll have ideas on, you know, what to do in addition to the Heal Advisor, in addition to the scan. Yeah.
Okay.
Or I got a special one for, I mean, I got a therapist program for the yeast because I've been dealing with that for a long, long time. So I'm working on it that way. Okay. Who hasn't spoken up about what they've noticed? We'd love to hear from some of the rest of you.
Well, I'll speak. This is Savita again. I've been using the Healy pretty regularly on my hips. I had hip surgery 4 years ago in one hip, an anterior hip replacement. And now I'm feeling my other hips start to feel like what my other hip felt like before I had hip surgery. So I've really been using it. I really haven't noticed any big differences yet. I'm using the Meridian program. I started with pain, and then I decided that I would try the joint for joints.
Okay.
And so I'm just, I mean, it's hard to say yet, and nothing severe. It's subtle, but it's subtle, and I have to pay attention to the subtleties, right? Because
Right.
So it's kind of like I want to keep the cartilage. So maybe I need to, do some bone and joint stuff, and I'm just doing the joint Meridian.
Oh, under the skin is the connective tissue as well. I think that's under the skin.
The connective, that's true, the connective tissue.
Yeah, and again, if you upgrade to the resonance,
which I'm
you'll
going
get more ideas because you can scan and you can run vibrations through that as well. And we've seen so many phenomenal results in working with people even remotely with the resonance that might help you kind of hone in sooner.
Yeah.
Than your program by program.
I think I'm going to get that resonance.
Okay, yeah, I thought of you immediately when I saw what the special was for upgraded. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing.
Yeah.
Under Noni, everyone under Deep Cycle,
Yeah.
under renewal, if you want to read that, it says here, in case of injuries after operations, if an energetic regeneration is desired, it should energetically stimulate bone recovery, also suitable for athletes. Bones, skin, tendons, vessels, nerves, muscles, and DNA. And of course, the affirmation is everything is restored. Pain is temporary.
Oh my God, that sounds so good. So that's under the Deep Cycle?
It's under the Deep Cycle, but you want to be very cautious when you start doing that. So you might read that whole thing in the manual first.
Okay.
I have somebody who 2 weeks ago up in Canada, unfortunately, she was on a motorbike, hit head on with a truck, and she's crushed both of her legs, and basically one ankle is completely destroyed. So as a matter of fact, yesterday she was in surgery. So now I'm going to be doing that on her today and tomorrow and every day for just, 5-10 minutes. We'll see what the Deep Cycle requires here, but I hope we can help her.
When you are running the Deep Cycle individual programs, a lot of people say that it can be fairly intense, and so some advice is to work through them slowly. So run the first application maybe once or up to 3 times, and then before you go on to the second application. And then, but when you're doing your resonance, of course, you can run it for just a little bit of time, the 5 top programs that come up out of those. Okay.
Perfect. Noni, wonderful, and thank you again for doing this.
You're welcome. Any last things? Anybody else want to share any successes? Okay, be sure and get in touch with me if you want, if you want to do some webinars to invite more people to take a look at this technology and how it can change their lives. It's always a fun thing to do.
I just want to say thank you, Noni. This is Goldie here, and I'm trying to educate some friends of mine here in Hawaii on the Big Island. And I've only just gotten my Healy because I was away, and then I just finished 2 weeks of quarantine yesterday because I had to come back in the state. But so I've had a really good time trying to immerse myself in this and doing all the programs that I can. So I haven't had a chance to really, say yes or no on what I feel, but I appreciate all yours and Mari too. Thank you so much for the help that you guys have offered me in getting started with this.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm glad everything worked out and you got everything installed and
I did get installed. It was just confusing because when I got my invoice back from Healy, when I did buy the advisor, they said the start date was the 16th. So I thought that it, you know, you flip a switch and it's downloaded
right.
to my machine. But, you know, I understand now, you know.
It takes a
but,
few days for them to turn something on. And I think, you know, a lot of, like I said, a lot of the support things will get smoother and faster as time goes on. So I'm thrilled with what the, you know, the changes are that they're making. But definitely, you know, look on Telegram for updates, or join it if you're not already there in Frequency Matters. And then let's see what else. And that would be the way that I would announce that we're doing another webinar, you know, promotional webinar. If you want to think about sharing it now, is a great time to do it because people have the advantage of the promotion. So I would really encourage you to get some people lined up that might be interested in learning about this technology. It's a great time to talk about it because people are so focused on what can I do at home to take better care of myself. And this is, you know, jumping ahead to the future, but it's here now for us to take advantage of. So have a great rest of your Sunday and a wonderful
Oh, Noni,
week.
1 second.
Yeah.
I just want to give my testimonial. It's quite a bit. I mean, I've been using the resonance since the beginning, since July. So that's not very long, but I've used it with myself, with my family, with friends, and everybody's had a really great positive effect with it in all kinds of ways. But I just wanted to mention a little bit about myself. Before the Healy, I was eating bacon and eggs in the morning and eating meat every day and drinking coffee just to, you know, get more energized. So none of that is happening anymore. And it's happened pretty easily. I ended up buying a juicer and a dehydrator and only eating raw, you know, fruits and veggies right now, starting to have a little bit more cooked stuff, but it's all vegan. So Healy has turned me into a vegan. I don't need any coffee anymore. The coffee is gone and I feel much better without it. I just juice in the morning or I take other things that to help with that. I've lost 20 pounds since about May. My skin's getting clearer. My mind feels more clear and I just feel more energized. And I run the Healy every day, multiple times a day, mostly on the resonance. And I do the peak dot I have the wristbands on here and there. But I just see whatever comes up and that's what I run. I just go with what it tells me. I don't, and then once in a while I'll do some, you know, like Bach flower remedies or gem elixirs or things like that. But there's been some really huge shifts since July and it's only August. So there's a lot that can happen in a very short period of time from my own experience.
That's awesome.
Yep. And you, well, I guess just when you started first receiving it remotely, you started exercising just from that, right?
Well, yeah. And I was starting that and I just kind of slumped off. So now I barely exercise. I do more walking than anything. So
yeah.
And things are shifting even without that. So
yeah, great. Well, I mean, you started walking in the mornings and you weren't doing that before. Yeah,
exactly.
So
right.
It's interesting how it will change your habits. You really show up in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
And then people around you will start showing up in a different way because you were showing up in a different way. So it's pretty potent. Yeah. Okay.
Very
Well,
potent.
thanks for sharing that. All right.
Are there programs for addictions? I mean, if you just gave up coffee or switched your diet, were there like addictions that you ran?
Well, what came up when I was running the resonance was, a lot of the gold cycle was coming up for me. And I think a lot of that has to do with it, and mental balance and jobs, and even some deep cycle. A lot of different things were coming up, but a lot lately has been the gold cycle, which is very interesting. So the basic foundation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All righty. Okay, and then I think we're going to have another session sometime, not too distant future, for those of us that want to be doing this as a service to clients or whatever, on how we're going to charge or how we're going to loan or rent out our Healys, so we can kind of mastermind about that. Okay, so we'll schedule something pretty soon about that as well.
That's cool.
All righty. Thank you, everyone. Have a great weekend.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you
Bye,
so
everybody.
much.
You're welcome. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.